What do you think? Should I wear my glasses or not?
Well,
I want to look appropriate. So I want to look at my best for you.
You look your best.
All right, thank you.
Welcome to Laying Down the Law with Billy DeClercq. I'm your host, Billy DeClercq, and I'm here with my very first guest, the reason I started the podcast, and the reason actually I keep on living, Bob Fisher.
Wow.
Longtime owner of the Ice House for 53 years, about to pass the torch. And Bob's agreed to do an interview. And if we fail, we'll edit it out. And this will never see the light of day.
We will never fail. We've got the gift of gab, young man.
Yeah,
we're gonna be fine. I didn't realize I was so important to you that I'm your reason for living.
Well, one of them.
All right.
I'll back off of that statement.
Fair
just
enough.
A little
Okay.
bit,
All right.
So laying down the law is mostly where I talk about myself. So I'm going to start with a few questions about me. What's your favorite memory of me, Bob?
I read in a newspaper once, that it turned out to be false that you had passed on, and I'm not sure that's my favorite memory, but without a doubt, it's within the top 10. I would say, yeah. I would say.
Yeah. Okay.
It was. So, by the way,
Yeah.
you should know that it was, unsubstantiated, and it was it wasn't true.
It was. Yeah.
Yeah, you realize that.
I thought. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
All right.
I thought you were going to say that you had heard I passed the bar.
Oh. Okay.
Which I did, only by bribing the examiners. But
that should be easy to do.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any laws against that.
That's not a problem.
Yeah.
Not a moral character examination.
Yeah. No. Why not?
So Bob, you I wrote no questions for today. I have done no preparation.
Okay. All right.
But one of the things that always caught my eye is on your website, and we were just talking about this a minute ago. You almost made the choice to become a lawyer.
Yeah. This is a long time ago. I probably both of your listeners wouldn't even remember this name, but his name was Louis Nizer. And he was a famous attorney way back when, and he wrote books. And so my relatives, for my birthday, would keep buying me Louis Nizer books because they knew that I wanted to be an attorney. And I was in, the head of the speech department kind of thing in high school, head of the debate. So I was always good in front of audiences because I had a certain way with words. And... And then when I got to college, I did that. And then someone said, if you switch to radio, television, film, you can have a TV in your dorm room. And so I ended my career as an attorney over that. Had a TV in the dorm room. And it's been great. This has been marketing and being around comedians and entertaining audiences. I love to see an audience have a good time. So it turned out it was the right decision for me without a doubt.
Yeah, yeah. Well, one of my favorite stories that you've told me, as we've known each other for a few years, you were wise enough to never hire me as an attorney.
Yeah,
that's actually how we met. It's.
I think you've done a number of things for me, and you've always done great work.
All right. Well, that'll be the first lie of today.
No, you may not remember it.
Yeah. Okay.
But you did.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. We'll just edit that part out.
All right. Okay. All right.
I'm embarrassed, but thank you.
Okay.
But I wanted to. There's a great story that you told me about giving a bottle of champagne to a very young Robin Williams. And
right.
Just
right.
If you, just tell my 2 listeners. Maybe by now we'll have 3 once they know that you're on the show.
So this is way back 1976, and I was managing a club in Newport Beach called the Laugh Stop, and the opening act, a guy who really didn't have much of an act at that time, was someone named Robin Williams. And but he was so unique and amazing, and it's kind of been a tradition for me throughout my 42 years in the business that when I see someone I think is really special and has great potential, to give him come on stage and give him a bottle of Dom Perignon. Robin was the first. Mm-hmm. Actually, it was like 1977, and in the succeeding years, I've only given out 11 bottles. That's it. So. Yeah. He was very special.
Yeah. Were any of those bottles a mistake?
No. It doesn't mean that they all became big stars.
Yeah.
But they all had, I think, unique talent.
Yeah.
And yeah. So no, I don't think it was a mistake.
Okay.
Would I take any back? Maybe one or two.
Yeah.
No. That's been fun doing that. And we were talking about Sebastian Maniscalco
Yeah.
a few minutes ago, and he and Theo Vaughn were the last two people I gave bottles to.
Who's Theo Vaughn? I don't know.
Theo Vaughn has a wonderful podcast, and he's a stand-up comic, friend of Joe Rogan's, worth you looking up and just listening to. I think you'd like him.
Yeah. Joe Rogan's a friend of the Ice House?
He has been the best friend, I have to say, throughout the years. I called about 2 months ago, and I said, on a Friday night, and I said, Joe, I just had a fallout. Second show Saturday. I'm just wondering whether, you can come in and do a show. And he said, I can't. I have to be in Vegas with my daughter. But he said, how about if I book the headliner for that show for you and then promote it? I went, no one has ever said anything like that. And we ended up with a sellout show because of Joe. Just above, that was above and beyond the Call of Duty.
Yeah.
He's been so really good to us.
Yeah.
Okay. You pretty much out of questions? You want me to? How about if I just ask
why don't you ask me questions?
Why don't you just relax?
Okay.
I'll just ask me.
Okay.
So Bob, how has comedy changed since you got into it a long time ago? Well, thank you, Bob. I think that's a really good question. In the early days, we had comedians, and they were all doing setups and punchline jokes. And then at some point, they decided that was too risky because if you don't get a laugh, you look like an idiot. And so they switched to more slice of life stories that didn't necessarily go for big laughs, but they were less risky. And so that's what we have today. If someone goes, "Oh, you must know a lot of jokes," I go, I'm here all week. You hardly ever see a comedian tell a joke now. They call them jokey jokes.
Yeah,
they don't do it. They're doing things about life and observational humor. Yeah. So that's been a big change. Oh, really? I'm surprised to hear that. Well, maybe that's because you're not following comedy as closely as you really should.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any other questions?
So one of the things that I don't think people really realize about owning a comedy club is how much you have to work with people and employees and booking 27 shows a week and something like that. So what's the biggest challenge about working with people in this business?
I think that there's so many different kinds of people you have to work with. If you work with agents and managers and celebrities, there's those kinds of pressures. When you're working with getting an audience, it's about marketing. I spend 80% of my time working on marketing, figuring out how to get people in the door to see shows so that they can, enjoy themselves, but also consume food and beverage so I can pay the bills and stay in business.
Right.
And then employees, the thing about employees now in this era of tremendous litigation is that you never know when someone's going to decide that, hey, they got a chance at, being set for a number of years and you're going to be sued. And the laws in California, definitely lean towards the employee as opposed to the employer. So it's a little frightening to go through week after week, keeping your fingers crossed and hoping that never happens. I've been very lucky, 40 years. I have never had that happen to me. However, I have a friend who owns a club and is just the greatest guy in the world. He's been sued 10 or 12 times.
Yeah.
So you just never know. I've been lucky.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty brutal. I mean, the incentives are pretty heavily in favor of bringing a claim because, the plaintiff side, they have little to lose.
Right.
And usually the rational thing to do if you're owning a business is to make it go away for what it would cost to pay an attorney. So
right.
It just drives the volume up.
You attorneys have set it up so that people can sue for free, and even if they lose, it doesn't cost them anything.
Well, when you write the rules.
Yeah. When you become legislators.
That's right.
And you write the rules. But I'm not holding against you personally.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
One of the things that I always love about your office is just all the memorabilia you have around here. And folks, if you're listening, just kind of take a look around your room.
That one of the blonde up there.
Yeah.
Stormy Daniels. So.
One of my favorite things, Bob, is this. It's the Bob Fisher Credo.
Yes.
Strive for mediocrity.
Yes, but be willing to settle for less.
Yeah.
Did you notice that Settle is spelled with 3 T's?
No, I didn't know. I assume that was intentional.
Yeah. Just couldn't even get that right.
So what's the
yeah,
story
the
behind
thing
that?
is this. Look, if you try to make it to the top,
Yeah.
it's tough up there, but the middle is nice and flat and easy, and people aren't striving for things. So I like the middle. I'm very comfortable in the middle.
Yeah. Trying is really overrated.
Achievement.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's not a lot of satisfaction in achievement.
Okay.
Okay. I think we've pretty now by doing this.
Yeah.
The way things we're talking about now, I pretty much know that we've reached the level where you're definitely going to erase this. This is not going to be uploaded.
Well, I think this is part 1 of a 10-part series, Conversations with Bob on laying down the law.
Oh boy. I call this comedy masturbation. We're doing this for ourselves. We don't care what anyone else thinks.
No, we do not. Well,
so, see the blonde up there?
Huh?
Stormy Daniels.
Okay. I'm going to just stop.
I had to write her a check to pay her off $30.
Well, I just paused that for a second. I checked my notes and I realized that I didn't write any.
Good.
So,
okay.
So the next time I'll try and come even less prepared.
Right,
with
if that's
fewer
possible. If that's possible. I hear you're thinking of running for office.
Well, I'm forming an exploratory committee.
Yeah.
And exploratory committee to run for the District 3 City Council seat, so I can expand my reign of terror.
I would like to see it happen. I'd like the Ice House to back you up in any way I can. We need people who are traveling down the road less traveled to be elected officials.
Well, I don't think there's anybody on the road that I'm traveling. So
yeah.
So what I'm hoping is that you would host the first of a series of Lincoln Douglas style debates between me and the incumbent, whatever his name is, and really exploring the issues of the day in a thoughtful and meaningful manner, and then immediately turning to some sort of cheap mudslinging and bringing up embarrassing things about my past.
It's perfect.
Multiple lawsuits and the allegations of lawsuits, the liens, judgments, etc. All that kind of.
I didn't realize you had that much in your history.
Yeah, well, you don't even look at my ancestry.com. It's insane. Wow. Some people's family tree branches.
I hope they haven't done any DNA on you, one of those things, because they might find out that you kind of outed someone or offed someone many years ago.
No, I thought you were going to say that I'm part marmoset.
Oh.
It's a way
Why is
that?
I like that. I like that.
Sorry, your results came back. You are not entirely human.
Right. I tell people that the results are, I went to a cheap one, and it turns out I'm 50% Swedish and 50% Nigerian. That was a really shock to my parents and all of us.
Oh, that's good.
Kind of an unusual combination.
That is an unusual combination.
All right, so I came up with this saying the other day.
Yeah.
See what you think. Honesty is not a part-time job. Hello?
I'm trying to figure that out.
Oh.
Where's the trick?
There's no trick. It just means that you're either honest. If you're honest, you got to be honest all the time. You can't be honest part of the time and call yourself honest.
Oh,
So
okay.
honesty is a full-time job.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not going to use that anymore. But
you look good in that sweater anyway.
I got my Ice House sweater on.
There you
go. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
So, have you? Are you going to continue with your comedy
that's what
career?
What I was hoping is that if I would come in unprepared, you would start asking yourself questions.
Sure.
And then you start asking me
All
questions.
right.
And then
so why do you feel you? Why do you want to be? I know you're interested in comedy.
I am interested.
Why would you
comedy.
like to? And you like your time on stage?
I haven't spent any time on stage. You mean doing stand up?
Yeah.
Well, that's why I'm doing a podcast, because there's I can record it in advance and delete the parts that are.
Is this a precursor to spending more time on stage, or instead of?
I really haven't thought that far down the road.
Okay. All right.
But,
and I was hoping you wouldn't answer that question because I don't even know what precursor means.
Well, it's when you have a computer.
Yeah.
And you're going to type something.
You're just about
to type it.
Yeah. Okay.
You're looking at it.
Precursor. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now I get it. Okay. I hadn't understood that all these years. So,
So this hasn't been a complete waste of your time.
No, I have to tell you a little story because when you talked about my Ice House shirt I'm wearing. So some guy came in here and he wanted to get the Ice House business on T-shirts and things like that, and we talked about it. And at the end, he said, "Oh, and I brought you a little gift." And he pulls out a work shirt, a dark blue work shirt, like someone in a gas station would have. And on one side, it says that it's got the Ice House logo that he made up for me. And on the other side, it's got a big name tag, says Bob, like you'd see in a gas station. Yeah. So anyhow, that was nice of him. And he left. I couldn't stand it. So I put it away somewhere. I thought it was really nasty looking. So he comes back in about 6 or 8 weeks later to follow up. Maybe he can get the Ice House business. And just as he leaves, he says to me, "Oh, by the way, how do you like the shirt I got you?" Now, I'm really an honest person, but I was embarrassed and caught off guard, and because I had no idea where it was. I'd never worn it. So I went, yeah, I gave it to a friend of mine, and he really enjoys it. To which he replied, "Oh, is his name Bob also?" I'd forgotten all about the name tag. So now in my head, I'm going, okay. Yeah. I either got to cop to this thing or I got to carry on this charade. So instead I went, you know what? I lied to you a second ago. I haven't given it to anyone. I'm not really sure where it is. So that was kind of an embarrassing moment. Yeah. And then it turns out 3 weeks later I found it and I went, well, I'll wear it one day. Just for the heck of it. I got about 35 comments loving it. People saying, where can I get one like that? So, yeah. I don't know if you have some time, but I have a whole bunch of fascinating other stories just like that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I've got nothing but time. You recognize you will get a bill for this, right? I'm sure. I know. $400 an hour. I know. Whenever you talk to an attorney, you get billed. Yeah. So where's the shirt now? In my closet at home. Okay. I don't really wear it that often. You know where it is. 75-year-olds shouldn't be wearing shirts with their names on it. I think what's great about that story is it illustrates a couple of things. One is there's another shirt that says Bob that's on the wall. That's what my dad owned a gas station all his life, or as we used to say, he dealt in oil. And so that's my shirt from when I was 14 years old. The actual shirt from the gas station, Burbank and San Fernando and Alameda and Burbank. Okay. And I guarantee you that if I took that out of that frame, I could never fit into that shirt. 14 years old, I weighed 110 pounds. And did you, so when you wore that shirt, that was, you were 14, so that must have been 1983. I wish. Yeah. That would have been, where was 64? 68. Okay. So that was still when they used, when someone would come out and say, you want leaded or unleaded? Well, my dad was a better businessman than that. You would go out and you would use an assumptive close. You would go, yes, sir, shall we fill it up? You were hoping they'd say fill it up. Yeah. So and those are the days where you put the gas in and then we did the tires, checked all the tires, water and oil, and washed the windows. And then you'd have maybe 5 or 6 cars there. They're all waiting. No one did their own gas. Yeah. You're running around trying to take all that. It was pretty crazy. I was at a restaurant on Lake Street called Lemonade recently. They have a cookie there I like. And the cookie's $3.50. Right. And 25 cents for tax. $3.75. So the kid behind the counter is 18. So I said, I'm going to pull an old man thing on you. I said, when I was about your age, a little younger, I worked at my dad's gas station. And people would come in and we'd fill up their tank, 17 gallons. And they would give me $3 and I would give them change. So when I was about your age, I know you can't believe this, but it's true, an entire tank of gas costs less than this cookie. And I said, the sad part for you, the scary part, is when you're my age, this cookie is going to be $24. You can't believe that's true, but if I would have told you all those years ago that gas was going to be $5 a gallon when it was 12 cents a gallon, you wouldn't have believed that either. Right. Inflation. Yeah. So get to work. Harder to retire than it seems. Yeah. And that's that cookie more than a tank of gas. Well, what they need to do is they need to design an automobile that runs on cookies. I like that idea. That's pretty good, right? There's all sorts of alternative fuels you can use. Yeah. plant-based and food-based kind of things.
The problem that I would have is that my car wouldn't go anywhere.
Because you would eat the
cookies.
You'd
Yeah.
eat the fuel.
Yeah, I'd be like, screw it. I've got cookies.
Yeah.
No real point in going
Yeah,
anywhere.
well, that's right.
That's the reason I have a car.
You just heard me say to my wife yesterday, I stopped and had a slice of blackberry pie at Pie and Burger, and it was the best 12 minutes of my life. I couldn't believe how fantastic it was.
It's pretty bold to say that to your wife, too.
Yeah, I know. That's true.
That's true.
That's right. I shouldn't have done that. So,
but she knows you're safe. If you are, if your dalliances involve blackberry pie and little else.
That's true. And when you get older, you only have about 3 testosterones in your body left, and so avoiding dalliances becomes pretty easy. A little harder when you're younger. Okay. So is that it? How would you rate this? This is your 3rd podcast?
It's the 4th.
4th. Yeah. And would you rate this 1, 2, 3?
This is actually better than any of the other material.
Oh.
Yeah. I think I actually might split this into a couple different episodes.
Wow.
And, kind of
this is the best.
Part 1 of, the problem is that the other ones are just me talking. And I do about as much preparation for just me talking as I did for today.
All right.
So I didn't even have, so you helped out because you helped out with the questions and the answers where I have neither questions nor answers.
I bet you're good though. Yeah. I bet you're good alone. But you're just very clever and witty too, so it's nice for you to have someone to play off of.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 people. Maybe ideally for you would be 2 or 3 people.
Maybe if we got just a table full of people and we came in with just blank pieces of paper.
Yeah.
And looked at each other, just turn on the microphone and
look at each other.
Yeah. Well, my sister told me the best thing about it. I said, I'm thinking about starting a podcast. And she said, "Oh, that's really good. The thing about podcasts is there's just so many of them are just white males."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Good luck with that."
Wow.
And I thought to myself, that might make it a little difficult because I can't exactly become an Afro queen,
Right. Well, you have guests that are other than white males. There was a picture in of Trump. He was having his conference on reproductive rights for women, and the room is filled with 25 men. There's not one. They're making decisions, and there's not one woman in the room.
Sure.
A little weird, isn't it?
That is a little weird.
Yeah,
it's more than
strange.
weird.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Well, I don't think if my listener count will go down from 3 to 0.
Start fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is the second best thing that's happened to me in a long time. The first best was being
the blackberry pie.
The pie, yeah. This is number 2.
Okay. So, should we do an ad for the Ice House?
Yeah.
Let's do that.
All right.
That'll be fun.
Okay. So here's if you haven't been to the Ice House in Pasadena, boy, are you missing something. This club's been here since 1960. This is our 59th year now, 59 years. And virtually anyone you can name in the field of comedy has been here. The great part is the showroom. The worst seat in the house is only 7 rows from the stage. So when you come here to watch an act, you're really part of it because intimacy is very important in comedy. And it does feel good to laugh and feels different from being at home because when you're surrounded by a couple hundred people laughing, it really gets you going. So come out to the Ice House and see a show and mention Billy's name and
they'll charge you double.
Yeah. Okay. It's not going to do you any good.
Well, I told you, Bob, that I was so starstruck when I first met you because I think I was probably about 12 or 13 years old, and I found an old comedy album, and it was the 80s, and it was the Ice House proudly presents Miss Lily Tomlin, and it
like that prevents.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it was Lily Tomlin, and it was her Ernestine, and I used to watch Laugh In on Nick at Night, and my parents were like, "It's fine, it's reruns," and I'm like watching this subversive stuff, I was probably 14. Really subversive, countercultural stuff. And they're like, "Oh, it's fine. It's reruns. Should be good." And so I got into Lily Tomlin, and so then I moved to Pasadena and met Bob and quit my job as a lawyer, and now just
heading in the direction you need to.
Yeah,
That's right for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're facing the same thing that 80% of the population go through. Some 20% maybe they just whatever direction they're heading in, they're comfortable with it. They're not. But for so many people, especially I think this era, there's a struggle to be real and be doing what you really want to do and be the authentic you. And that seems like really what's happening to you now.
Well, I think so. Although I think it was it who wrote that most men lead lives of quiet desperation? Is that Arthur Miller?
Well,
Eugene O'Neill? George Bernard Shaw?
I think it was George Michael.
George.
Or he in coordination with Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah. So I think that I don't know that you can change
quiet
the
desperation.
I don't know that you can change the quiet part.
But
at least you can.
Yeah. My ex-wife, she became a Buddhist, and she currently teaches classes in not Palm Desert, but Juniper Springs, whatever that is down there. I can't remember the name of it. But anyhow, they're free. The company she's with, and it's a 10-day.
I've heard of that.
No, you don't talk.
Yeah.
And
I've heard of that.
I've been afraid to go through that because I think if you went through that, you got to come. A person has to come out of that a changed person. You've got 10 days of
just rattling around
your thoughts and meditation and listening to things.
Yeah.
So maybe that would be a good thing for people.
Yeah.
Who are wondering what their self is. Who they are.
Right. You could change the quiet part, or you could change the desperation part.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good point.
Yeah, I guess
I don't know what would happen, but something Joshua tree. That's a Joshua tree. Yeah.
What about loud satisfaction? That wouldn't be good either.
See, did you ever just scream when you're feeling tense?
Yeah,
I just make a sound. Whoa! And if you do it as up to as loud as you can do it, it does relieve tension. You feel a lot better.
Bob, I feel like this has been a journey.
A long journey. Can we turn the mic off now?
Yeah, I'll turn it off.
Because I have to go to the restroom.